Hey y'all, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther. And yes, I'm looking at my other screen. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. It is what it is. Anyways, I'm kind of on one tonight. I am revamping my music pillar section, chapter, whatever you want to call it, in my millennial ebook that I've recently uploaded. I feel like going deeper on that. I absolutely love music. I was one of those that burnt CDs for everyone. I used to help promote live bands, make flyers, do the video editing, uploading on YouTube. I had a old YouTube channel that literally went viral from, just recording live shows, honestly, for people, and I ended up deleting it all, but whatever. Anyways, I've been listening to old music and kind of jumping back into my teenage years, getting the vibe of the millennial generation and what I've, experienced personally, obviously. And, I just don't really give myself credit. And I'm just kind of like looking back over everything that I've overcome in my own personal life. And, I've kind of on the topic of shit testing, people loyalty testing you in a relationship. And, that idea sparked from the whole abandonment thing. People who loyalty test people are extremely insecure, normally an anxious attachment style, and they're just very insecure people. And are worried about being abandoned. It's like, who's not worried about being abandoned? Like, I get it. My own mother abandoned me, and it made me just look back and kind of look over my own journey and kind of, instead of criticizing myself so hard like I normally do, I'm kind of like, wow, I've really actually overcame quite a lot. Native American stuff. My mom's side of the family are Native American. They are affiliated with multiple tribes. So there's a lot of ancestral, generational stuff going on there with me personally. And then I've got a huge, deep mother abandonment wound. There was a lot of trauma there up until I was 4 years old. And so it's like, there's no freaking excuse. I know abandonment deeply. Like, there's nothing deeper, I don't think, than your own mother abandoning you and not taking care of you. And when she was in charge of you, not, protecting you. And there's just no freaking excuse for this loyalty testing crap. Like, I understand abandonment so deeply, and I still do not freaking do the freaking emotional extreme shit testing in relationships. Like, there's no excuse for that behavior. No matter what trauma you have freaking been through, there's no excuse. So, anyways, I wanted to do a video on why loyalty testing destroys real intimacy in relationships. So, I want to talk about something that keeps quietly destroying relationships, especially between men and women who actually want depth, loyalty, and real connection. So yes, I'm an Aquarian INTJ mind. I am extremely freaking loyal. I don't let many people into my life, and when I do, I am loyal to a fault and will endure so much, but once I door slam, it's done, like done. Anywho, and I need to say this clearly at the start. This video is not about blaming men. It's about naming a pattern that keeps repeating and keeps hurting the exact people involved. What I'm talking about today is loyalty testing or shit testing, whatever you want to call it. That thing where someone, often men, but not exclusively, pushes, withdraws, destabilizes, provokes, or emotionally disappears to see if the other person will stay. Not to build trust, but to test it. And I want to say something up front because it matters. So I already said, my mother abandoned me. I understand abandonment trauma intimately, and I still do not treat people this way. Trauma explains impulses. It does not justify behavior. What loyalty testing actually is. Loyalty testing is not depth. It is fear dressed up as intensity. It looks like pulling away to see if someone chases, creating emotional distance without explanation, provoking jealousy through triangulation, becoming cold after intimacy, saying hurtful things to see how they react, withholding reassurance, disappearing during moments of closeness. The unspoken question underneath all of this is, will you stay if I make it hard? But here's the truth most people don't want to face. That's not a test of loyalty. That is a test of how much pain someone will tolerate. And those are not the same thing. The self-fulfilling prophecy. This is the surgery. This is where most people get stuck. When you push someone away to see if they'll come back and they don't, that does not mean people aren't loyal. It means you tested the wrong thing. A healthy, loyal person does not stay in situations where they are confused on purpose, they are emotionally destabilized, their consistency is punished, their presence is taken for granted. So when a loyal woman leaves after being pushed, ignored, or tested, that is not abandonment, that's self respect. When men do this, they often say, see, they will always leave. But what they're really saying is, I created conditions no secure person would stay in. That's not betrayal, that's cause and effect. And so I am going to throw a certain type of personality under the bus. We all have our virtues and vices, don't get me wrong. But, Scorpios are in the astrological world and the psychological world absolutely freaking notorious for shit testing, loyalty testing people. They're intense. They are very extreme, intense people. They know how to emotionally manipulate really well, and they will freaking burn you first. Like, everyone talks about how Scorpios burn you first. Now, my father is a Scorpio, don't get me wrong. I love the personality to absolute death. But when you're in an intimate relationship with a certain type of personality, the whole thing changes. So, anyways, let's talk archetypes without hiding behind them. Scorpio dominant and ENFP dominant men can carry intense relational wiring. So, I'm just going to give you this personality type as an example, and you can pick up some gems from it and see it within yourself. We all have all of this energy within us. Some dominate, some don't. So, I'm giving you an example. Depth hunger, emotional intensity, desire for fusion, fear of betrayal, hyper attunement to threat. In this shadow, this can turn into emotional provocation, mistaken for intimacy. If you can survive me, you deserve me, logic. Confusing chaos with passion. Believing love must be tested to be real. But here's the line that matters. Intensity is not intimacy. Pain is not proof. Endurance is not devotion. Maturity looks like consistency, transparency, emotional regulation, safety during closeness. Trauma explains the urge to test. It does not make it sacred. Your trauma does not define your freaking behavior. You have a choice. I know trauma, believe me. My own mother, for example. That's very, very deep, okay? You can still not treat people like this and act like that. So I need to say this plainly. When men loyalty test women, the women who pass those tests are not the prize. They're often over-functioning, boundary collapsed, trauma bonded, conditioned to stay through harm. The women who leave, those are often the healthiest ones in the room. And when men punish women for leaving unhealthy dynamics, it teaches women one thing, that loyalty requires self-abandonment. That is not polarity. That is not love. That is emotional coercion. And it's really seen in water sign men. I'm just going to tell you that because They're in the emotional world as it is, and they know how to pull on those strings, social engineer that way. Geminis are also very good at it. Trust versus validation. I want to be very precise here because people confuse this constantly. Wanting to be seen as a good person by your partner is not weakness, but outsourcing your sense of self to your partner is not intimacy, it's dependency. Trust is not built by test, trust is built by predictability. Healthy men don't ask, will you stay if I withdraw? They ask, can I show up consistently without disappearing? Trust grows through repetition, repair, clear communication, and emotional availability, not through pressure and chaos. The systemic piece, why this is so common. This pattern didn't appear in a vacuum. Men were raised in systems that punished vulnerability, rewarded stoicism. Hello, toxic femininity in a man. Stoicism is great to a degree. Don't get me wrong. Shamed emotional needs, confused control with strength. So instead of asking for reassurance, many learn to test for it. But here's the hard truth. If you cannot ask directly for what you need, you will keep designing situations that destroy it. And then you'll call it fate. What healthy men do instead, this part matters. Healthy men ask instead of provoke, regulate fear instead of outsourcing it. And I will say this because I already know your mind is going here. Talking about your needs is fine. It's healthy. It's great. But then constantly moving the freaking goalpost is controlling and insecure and is not healthy. It's toxic AF. Okay. So just saying. Regulate. Okay. So healthy men ask instead of provoke, regulate fear instead of outsourcing it, risk honesty instead of creating chaos, let loyalty reveal itself over time. They understand this. A loyal woman is not proven by suffering. Let me repeat this. A loyal woman is not proven by suffering. She is revealed by steadiness. I want to end this section with saying, if you are afraid of being abandoned, stop rehearsing abandonment. Stop pushing away people who show up. Stop punishing consistency. Stop confusing endurance with devotion. Loyalty is not something you extract through pressure. It's something you recognize when someone chooses you without being tested. And if every relationship ends the same way, the common denominator is not betrayal. It's the pattern you refuse to stop repeating. Pushing a loyal person away is not strength. It is the fastest way to destroy the very thing you say you want. For men who want to do better, how to build trust without testing, control, or withdrawal. All right, so this video is not for men who want to argue. It's not for men who want validation. It's not for men who want women to lower their standards. This video is for men who are genuinely asking. This part of the video, I should say. If loyalty testing is destructive, what do I do instead? If you're willing to take responsibility without collapsing into shame and victimhood, keep listening. Because what I'm about to say is not an attack. It's an instruction manual most men will never get or were never given. The core shift you must make. Here's the fundamental reframe. Trust is not proven under pressure. Trust is revealed under consistency. If you only feel safe when someone is chasing you, that is not desire, that is fear management. If you need to destabilize a relationship to feel powerful, that is not masculinity, that is nervous system dysregulation. The goal is not, will she stay if I pull away? The goal is, can I stay present when intimacy increases? That's the real test, and it's yours, not hers. Why withdrawal feels powerful but isn't. Let's be honest. Withdrawal works temporarily. When you go cold, people chase, you feel in control, your nervous system calms, you feel chosen again. But here's the cost no one talks about. Withdrawal selects for anxious attachment, not loyalty. The woman who stays through emotional destabilization is not proving devotion. She's revealing unresolved trauma. Healthy women don't chase disappearing men. They clock the pattern and exit. So if you wanted a grounded, self-respecting partner, you cannot use tactics that only trauma responds to. What emotional leadership actually looks like. Masculine leadership in relationships is not dominance, it is containment. Containment means you do not punish closeness. Sorry, I gotta get comfortable. Okay, so containment means you do not punish closeness, you do not disappear when things get real, you communicate when fear shows up, you regulate before reacting. A regulated man does not test loyalty. He creates safety so loyalty can emerge naturally. This is a difference between control, temporary attachment, and safety, lasting devotion. The skill men are never taught. Here is the skill most men were never taught. Direct emotional disclosure without collapse. That sounds like I'm feeling insecure, not because of you, but because intimacy is increasing. Part of me wants to pull away. I'm choosing not to. I need reassurance, and I'm asking instead of testing. This does not make you weak, it makes you trustworthy. Women do not lose attraction to men who communicate clearly. They lose attraction to men who destabilize the bond and call it depth. Now, communication is great, but another terrible thing, I don't even know if I brought water. Another terrible thing is moving the goalpost to stay in control. That's a whole nother freaking video. I can't even. This does not make you weak. Okay, so I already said that. All right, so how to build trust practically. Trust is built through boring, unsexy repetition. Here's what actually works. Say what you mean, do what you say, repair quickly when you mess up, stay emotionally available after intimacy, do not punish closeness, do not create confusion to feel desired. Trust is not a dramatic moment. It is a pattern your nervous system learns over time. This is one thing I can't stand. Men are trying to always tell women, be my peace, be my peace. Believe me, that's all women want is peace. Stop causing emotional chaos to feel powerful, whatever it is, whatever is going on in there. If you're afraid of being abandoned, this part matters. If abandonment is your core wound, you must understand this. Every time you test loyalty, you are rehearsing abandonment. Every time you pull away, you are training people to leave. Healing abandonment does not come from control. It comes from staying present when leaving feels safer. This is the work. What women are actually asking for. Women are not asking men to be perfect. They're asking men to be emotionally accountable. The lack of emotional containment in men. I understand it's like the feminine has been absolutely borderline destroyed in women and men. That's a whole nother video also in itself, series, you name it. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stay on track here. All right, so what women are actually asking for is emotional accountability. Do not offload your emotional inner work to women. They want consistency, transparency, repair, safety, and presence, not intensity, not love bombing, not extremes, not triangulation, not chaos, not testing. A woman who leaves after being pushed away is not disloyal. She is responding correctly to the information she was given. If you want a woman who chooses you freely, you must stop trying to trap her loyalty through pressure. There's so many ways. Loyalty is not extracted. It is offered when safety exists. And the man who can provide that safety without disappearing, without testing, and without controlling is the man women stay with, not because they were forced, but because they want to. So, rebuilding polarity after damage, why attraction dies and how it returns without control, testing, or trauma. So, naming the real problem. Let's start with the truth most people avoid. Polarity does not disappear because people become too healed, too independent, or too modern. Polarity disappears when safety collapses, not emotional safety in the soft sense, but nervous system safety. When someone no longer feels regulated in your presence, attraction doesn't fade, it shuts down. And once polarity is damaged, you cannot resurrect it with intensity, distance, dominance, or performance. Huge, huge, huge. You have to rebuild the conditions that allows it to exist. What actually damages polarity? Polarity is damaged when one or more of these occur consistently. Emotional withdrawal after intimacy, testing loyalty through silence, distance, or ambiguity, power games disguised as boundaries, unspoken resentment, chronic role confusion, one partner carrying emotional regulation for both, fear replacing desire. At that point, the relationship stops being erotic and becomes managerial, and desire cannot survive management. The big understanding. Here's the mistake people make. They think polarity is about who has power. It's not. Polarity is about who is regulated. The more regulated partner becomes the container. The dysregulated partner becomes reactive, defensive, or controlling. Once that happens, polarity collapses into parenting, negotiation, monitoring, emotional labor, and attraction turns into obligation. Why testing kills polarity? Testing destroys polarity because it reverses orientation. Instead of I am grounded, come toward me if you choose, it becomes prove you won't leave me. That puts the other person into the dominant position. Even if they chase, you've already ceded polarity. True polarity requires self referenced stability, not leverage. Good. The leverage thing with men. I'm sorry. Like, I don't hate men, but like, I have studied so much at this point. I have so much life experience at this point. I'm just going to repeat myself. True polarity requires self reference stability, not leverage on any freaking dimension in any realm. It's not about leverage. The first step in repair. This is non negotiable. Polarity cannot be rebuilt until emotional safety is restored. Not reassurance, not promises, not dangling carrots, not words, consistency. Repair begins when behavior matches communication. Closeness is not punished. Withdrawal is replaced with transparency. Fear is named instead of acted out. If someone does not feel safe relaxing into their body around you, polarity will not return. Period. How masculine energy rebuilds polarity. Masculine polarity returns through containment, not dominance. Containment means staying present under emotional intensity, not disappearing when things deepen, regulating before responding, holding direction without forcing outcome. Holding direction without forcing outcome. Masculine energy stabilizes the field. It does not provoke reactions to feel powerful. When the masculine stops needing response, the feminine naturally responds. How feminine energy rebuilds polarity. Feminine energy returns through trusting discernment, not overfunctioning. This means not chasing regulation, not explaining intuition to be believed, not managing emotional outcomes, not performing softness to keep connection. When the feminine stops compensating, the masculine is invited to step forward or step away. Both outcomes restore polarity. What rebuilt polarity feels like. Repaired polarity is quieter than damaged polarity. It feels like calm attraction, grounded desire, less anxiety, fewer words, more presence, clearer yeses and nos, slower escalation, and deeper trust. There is less drama, and far more intensity because the nervous system is no longer in survival mode. We're talking depth and safety and containment. When polarity cannot be rebuilt, this matters. Polarity cannot be rebuilt if one person refuses accountability, safety is repeatedly violated, repair never sticks, control is prioritized over connection, fear is used as leverage. In those cases, leaving is not failure, it is completion. Some relationships exist to teach nervous system truth, not lifelong polarity. Here's the truth that ends the confusion. Polarity does not come from distance, it comes from presence. It does not come from power, it comes from regulation. It does not survive control, only coherence. When both people stop managing fear and start embodying stability, polarity doesn't need to be forced. It returns on its own. Polarity isn't something you create. It's something that appears when nothing in the room is trying to protect itself. So that is my video. I am on one today. Just got off of work, had to get that out of my system. I feel better now. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, and I deeply, deeply appreciate your support. I had someone download a book this evening, and it's actually one of my favorite, most beautiful books. So when someone downloads a book, or purchases, downloads a free book, I tend to kind of go through that book again, and I never give myself credit ever. I finish a huge project and I move straight on to the next. There's not enough time in this world to get everything done, and I have that all-encompassing feeling of that weight every single day of my life, every single minute of my life. So I just deeply want to thank you so much for the subscriptions, for the comments, for the downloads of my books, all of it. Thank you so much. That's all I need to fire my soul back up. It means a lot. It means the world to me. And I am truly one of those very few, very loyal people left. I don't really let many people into my life. On an intimate level, I should say. And I'm extremely loyal when I do. And it's just unfortunate because there are seriously good people out there, honest people that care, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's just the loyalty testing thing. I understand abandonment. I truly understand abandonment on the deepest level. I had a very traumatic childhood up until I was 4 years old. My mother was not there for me, and when she wasn't. It didn't even matter. And there's still no freaking excuse. I made a promise to my own soul, to myself, to the world when I was 4 years old that I will never be what happened to me. I literally had a soul walk in when I was 4 years old. And this topic is extremely deep for me. And yeah, once I slam the door is slammed forever. And um it's just a thing for me. And so, anywho, this video is really truly for those who are like myself and give people a benefit of a doubt, no, regardless of what trauma you've been through. It does not justify bad behavior. Truly, it doesn't. There's no excuse, especially when we're older. Like, grow up. Grow up. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. I deeply, seriously appreciate all of you so much, my whole heart and soul. And I will see you in the next video.